Welcome back, everybody. Today we're testing the new Motiv Yellowjacket. If you like what we do, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe and check us out on Patreon. First impressions, this thing is bright, but it's super early, feels like strong urethane. All right, let's get into this a bit. Motiv releases another microcell polymer ball, which essentially is their version of urethane. While other brands work up urethane and urethane-like covers, this is Motiv's version of it. Just a quick refresher. MCP basically absorbs a bit more oil than urethane, but significantly less than reactive. Ultimately, the effect is still mostly pulling oil from the front and carrying it, you know, down lane, especially since most of the cores in these balls have minimal flare. The flux core is a very low diff core, so all control. It allows the cover to dominate. This version, known as the Friction M5, feels like a pretty strong version, but with a pretty traditional early urethane-like look. So it kind of slots itself below the Carbide tank, and I would say stronger than the blue tank. Both the blue and the Carbide feel, I would say, a touch cleaner. In other words, they get a little further down lane than the Yellowjacket. However, the Carbide has more punch down lane. You'll see that later in the video. I mean, kind of splitting the difference between urethane and reactive, while blue is, it just has less back end than either the Carbide or the yellow. So it's almost like the blue is the mild urethane, Yellowjacket is a strong urethane, the Carbide would be somewhere much closer to reactive. In fact, the Yellowjacket and Carbide didn't have much board coverage difference, but vastly different ball reactions. It was very easy for Tyler to find a very good look to the pocket, excellent control motion. About half a game in, he started to see some flat tens. Again, this is a consequence of the pattern changing and possibly, happens a little quicker here because of the significant mid-lane friction this house and pattern has. Brian is up next. Urethane-like reaction wouldn't typically be, his forte, but the Yellowjacket acquitted itself fairly nicely overall. I mean, you could see the first couple balls have that typical hook at your feet reaction out of the box. Figured we'd show you that for ha-has, but the Yellowjacket has a very early read anyway once it settles down, so he was inside the second arrow, but also being inside the friction line, especially down lane on the house pattern, meant very little back end. Remember, there's a kind of cliff, right, in a typical house shot. So initially it felt like he might have to pipe it. MCP or urethane doesn't typically yield confidence opening the angles, but seeing the ball reaction as it was, we started experimenting, pushing the ball out to the friction from same point at the arrow. So instead of 12 to 10, he would eventually get to, say, 12 or 11 to 7, and the Motiv Yellowjacket really came alive. It's surprised with the right amount of early move and back end to look quite good from there and give him a little bit of room. It's still a little niche for Brian, but this is one of the better looks, I would say, for him in terms of urethane-like ball motion. Final thoughts. I mean, it's clear urethane and microcell polymer are here to stay for a while. Motiv continues to bring variations and ball reaction in this control motion space. The Yellowjacket has a fairly traditional urethane-like look, but just a step up in strength everywhere, I would say. And it's still a banana shape. No, I didn't say that because it's yellow, but it does slot a bit uniquely in a bag in a sense that if you're carrying, say, a Carbide, which I think is strong enough to fit in, like, say, a legit strong control slot, the Yellowjacket has a similar strength up front, but is still smoother down lane. So boiling it down, if you just had a urethane bag, the Carbide would actually be the strong angular type shape, with the Yellowjacket being the strong smooth type shape. And if you had, say, a blue tank, that would be your sort of a little longer, less ball overall. Hope that helps. Thanks for watching.